great pleasure to introduce today's presenter, Chris Vasiliadis. I said it with a Greek
Very
accent.
nice.
Great way.
Yeah.
She stepped in last minute to be this month's presenter, and we are so grateful for her flexibility and willingness to share her expertise with us. Living well with a chronic disease ultimately led Chris to her current business and career. In late 2005, Chris was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, MS. The challenge put her on the road to make several lifestyle changes for her overall well-being. Choosing to thrive with MS resulted in a heightened awareness for wellness for herself and desire to help others achieve their ideal picture of wellness. After obtaining her Health and Wellness Coach certification from Well Coach and Personal Trainer certification from American College of Sports Medicine, Chris launched Priority Wellness in the fall of 2008. In her work, she helps individuals who are overwhelmed, overstressed, and or out of shape, and are ready to take control of their well-being. Her clients learn to run their lives with constant focus, energy, and vitality. Chris conducts her one-on-one services primarily over the phone and delivers various wellness programs to groups. With respect to her MS, she has been relapse-free since 2007 of January. Welcome.
Thank you, everybody. And I think a couple people need some handouts. Who doesn't have a handout? There you go. And can you pass one back to that person who just came in? Great. Anybody need them over here? All set? Great. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm thrilled to be here today. And happy spring to everybody. Red Sox starting, snow's melting. Who felt like they were living in an igloo this winter? Yes. So, yes, very happy that spring is here. And I find that spring and change of seasons in general is a great time to consider making any sort of habit change, because you can get inspired by the changes already happening around you. So I'm thrilled to talk to you today about how to set the stage to increase your energy and vitality. Before I get into kind of the meat of the talk, what I'd like to do is just give you a little bit more background. So yes, as you heard, I happen to be someone who's living with MS. And if you don't know anything about multiple sclerosis, it's a chronic disease of the central nervous system. And what happens is people with MS, we all, human beings, have this insulation around our nerves called myelin. And what happens with people with MS is it just starts to disintegrate and disappear and exposes your nerves. And how that shows up in your body are a variety of different ways. You can have brain fog, you can have extreme fatigue, you can have bathroom issues, you can have vision issues, you can have mobility issues. So it's frequently called an invisible disease because you might see people out and about who have MS and you might never know that they have it because you can't see their issues unless they're having mobility issues. So when I got diagnosed in December of 2005, I made the decision to see my primary care physician and say, all right, it's my objective to live a fully active, healthy life. What should I be doing? And she lined me up with a whole bunch of tests. So the year of 2006 for me was like the year of the lab rat. I had a whole bunch of different tests on a variety of different things, from allergies to food to things I was deficient in. And as a result of that, I made a whole bunch of lifestyle changes over time. So for me, I feel I found the right combination, and my neurologist feels I found the right combination of doing whatever I'm doing to keep my wellness intact. And she said, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. That being said, I fully believe that there is no one silver bullet to attaining whatever wellness each of you wants to have. And so what's cool about my job is helping people figure out, well, what is the right combination for you? What do you want out of your wellness? And I'll get you started on that track today of figuring out what it is you want. When you do have your way of mastering your energy and vitality, it serves you in so many ways. It helps you when things are going fine. You know, you can cruise along even better. You can be more effective at work, more engaging in conversations, more engaging in just things that happen in daily life. It helps you, I could almost argue, even more when things aren't going well, when you have a crisis or tragedy in your family. If you have good energy and vitality about you, it doesn't make the bad stuff go away, but it gives you a better capacity for weathering the blows. So it serves you in quite a bit of ways. So what I want to focus on today is, again, setting the stage. You'll be creating some things. Does everyone have a pen, by the way? Because this is going to be, anyone need a pen? Okay, good. I'll be walking you through some of the exercises in your handout to figure that out. So you'll have kind of the starting point by the time we're done, and at the end I'll share with you some steps about how you can put what you've created today into action. So let's get started with, as the saying goes, with the end in mind. So when I start working with people, I'm going to walk you through exactly what the beginnings of what I take people through, and that's creating a wellness vision. I get asked a lot in my work as a wellness coach, so you do wellness, so what do you mean by wellness? And my response to that is, I let my clients define what they mean by wellness, because wellness is a big umbrella. There's a lot of things that can fall underneath that. So to give you an idea, people have come to me for a variety of different things. I've had someone come to me because they used to be a runner and they got out of running and wanted to get back into that. Another person, single mom, I want to spend more quality time with my son. Can you help me figure out how to do that? Other people come to me for losing weight for any whole host of reasons. Either they refuse to go up another size, they've gotten some numbers from their doctor that they're not pleased with, they have a wedding coming up, whatever. People who have diabetes, high blood pressure, other kinds of chronic illnesses in their family, and they don't want to be part of that statistic. People who have a lot going on in their life, they feel more scattered than focused and grounded, and they want to work on their mindfulness and being more focused and having more concentration in what they do. So that just gives you an idea of kind of the spectrum of things that I've helped folks with. Any of those might have resonated for you or not. So what I find is a lot of people we're all so busy, we have a lot going on in our lives, wearing multiple hats, and it's rare that people take kind of a step back and say, geez, how am I really feeling? What do I really want out of my wellness? But I'm going to give you that chance today. So again, I'm going to ask you to create this wellness vision, and we're not going to write an essay. It's very brief. I would say 3 to 5 sentences. But let me put you kind of in the mindset of it. So what I guide people on is think a year out from now. Pretend you had a magic wand and you could wave it and poof, this is the ideal version of my wellness that I want, and describe that. What might help you to describe it in a way that you're kind of painting a picture for yourself. So imagine that it's a year from now and someone's filming a documentary, maybe it's Len, filming a documentary of what you've achieved with your wellness. So what kinds of things, what are you doing? What kinds of things are you saying? How are you feeling? What are some things you're able to do a year from now that perhaps you're not able to do now? Or perhaps you could do them better than you can do now. So that's just to get kind of your thoughts going. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to spend some time, again, write 3 to 5 sentences of what you want from your wellness. Don't worry about how you're going to get there. Just write down what you would like from that. Sure. Anybody else need a pen? Sure.
Oh, she's in a box. Thank you. I have 2.
Thank you. Sure.
couple more seconds to finish up. Okay. If you still have to finish up, that's fine. Would love to hear from one or two volunteers who'd like to share what they came up with. Who would like to share?
Sorry.
Oops, Phil. Yes.
Well, you have beautiful skin, and so
Oh,
I
thank
thought,
you.
oh, there's a vision for me, like glowing skin and looking 10 years younger. Another thing, in addition to body stuff, I said clear-headed, sleeping well, and waking up refreshed and feeling rested.
Okay. So can I ask you some questions about that?
Sure.
So, oh, don't be scared. There's nothing too fair. So why is having all that a year from now so important to you?
Oh, because I think, knock wood, I'm pretty healthy now, and so it's about like optimizing that, getting maybe to a little higher level.
Okay.
And I'm a coach like you, and so like I need to be really present to my clients and as a teacher as well. So I need to be my best self in my work, but also in life, just to be kind of have a well-oiled machine, to do whatever needs doing.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, and looking good, of course.
Yeah. Well, and those sound like really compelling reasons. So what could potentially get in the way of you making all that happen?
Stress.
Can you say more about what you mean by stress? Like what
I
about
think
stress?
it shows on my face,
Oh, okay.
and it disrupts my sleep. So like, my diet's pretty good. Exercise could be better, for sure. So making that a priority. Sometimes I don't make exercise a priority. So that's a lack of discipline maybe around seeing it as something important and worthy of my time.
Well, yeah, that could be.
Yeah. I heard this great quote last week. Discipline is remembering what you want.
Oh, that's a good one.
So,
I like that.
like, if I want that body,
Right.
more toned and healthy and vibrant, I need to do more exercise.
So let's talk about the stress. So you thought the stress could get in the way and the exercise could get in the way. And my next question, you kind of answered it already on the exercise piece, was so what's your workaround around that, not doing exercise? So you mentioned the discipline thing. So what's your workaround on managing stress?
Say that a little different.
If you think stress is going to get in the way of you achieving those goals,
Yes.
how can you counterbalance that stress? What can you do to minimize your stress?
Make the exercise a habit. Like, not just, oh, I'll get to it, but every morning at 9 I go for a walk or whatever. The stress piece, well, there's a lot of, like you said before, there's family issues going on that are stressful and out of my control. So kind of like just taking care of myself and realizing that some things are out of my control, and I have some pretty good self-care practices built in, like not forgetting them, like they go out the window, right, when there's a crisis. So maybe just being firmer about keeping good habits in place that are already there.
Great. That sounds like a good overall plan. Yeah, and I'm not here to like say like, yep, you should do this or shouldn't do that. It's more helping you think through like, okay, what could potentially get in the way?
Yeah.
Why is this so important to me?
Yeah, so I think routinizing things
Yeah.
so that they don't go out the window when there's a stressful event. Like every day I brush my teeth, so every day, I'll exercise or like making them that regular.
Yeah.
Or meditate or journal or whatever.
Sounds great. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank
Kim.
you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anyone else? I'd like one more volunteer to share what they came up with.
All right, I'll do it.
All right.
I probably speak for everyone in this room. Well, I don't mean that actually. I'm just saying a lot of us are thinking that way, so don't take it personal. I would be 30 pounds lighter. I would be eating less junk food and more fruit, and I would be walking as much as possible every day.
Okay.
It's pretty.
Excellent. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for stepping up and sharing that.
That's pretty standard.
So I'm going to ask you the same questions I asked Kim. So
Please.
why is having all that so important to you?
Well, because I used to have all that, and I'd like to get back to it. And I'm getting older, And like you said, there are, I mean, for me, I don't want to be diabetic like my mother is. You know, I don't want to have heart disease like my dad. So it's important so that as I go into my later years, I'm as healthy as I can be. So.
Great, then those sound like really compelling reasons. So what could potentially get in the way of you making those changes happen?
Work.
What about
I
work?
think just the stress and hours of work.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest factor.
So what can you, what's your workaround for that?
What? No.
You are being filmed right now. In your place
You know,
of work.
probably
get
just,
crazy.
I think lunchtime I could do more walking.
Yeah.
And I think as far as changing my eating habits, that's, you know, work really isn't in the way of that. I just have to prepare better. I have to prepare my daily eating habits better.
Yeah.
So I think I can do it. So.
I know you can. That's great. And thank you both for sharing. And we're not trying to like solve all your wellness problems in this little exercise. It's more, the questions that I'm asking are more to have you think about kind of big picture. Because what happens when people set goals is they kind of set their goals in a vacuum. They say, okay, this is what I want, and then they merrily try to go about doing it, but don't really think through the questions that I brought up. So I'll repeat those questions again and just encourage you all to do those afterwards. So when you figure out these goals that you want out of your wellness, ask yourself, why is this so important to me? And the reason why you're asking yourself that is if you can clarify why it's so important, that can be used as a motivator when you fall off the wagon. Notice I didn't say if, I said when. Because what happens is when you decide to make habit changes, by our human nature and even biology, your brain's going to fight you because there are grooves in your brain that have been created from the habits that you've instilled up until today. So when you start to try to do new things, your brain's like, oh, no, this is how we do things, and start going this way. So it does take some repeated action of new behaviors and new habits to retrain your brain. So you will fall off the wagon. When I start working with people, I say, let me just tell you, it's going to be wobbly for a while. It's going to be things, and things happen kind of in a non-linear way. You'll take a few steps forward and feel like you took 100 steps back. So knowing why this is so important to you is really important because you'll refer back to that as you're going down the path of making change. And then identifying, related to that, identifying what can get in the way. So you can, to Maria's point, make a plan. Identify what can, okay, I just said this was really important to me. Now what can get in the way of making this happen? Because let's face it, life happens. But let's not use life as an excuse. Let's use, if you want wellness for you, the idea is to how do you integrate it into your life? How do you make it work? So if you identify, that's your next question to ask yourself, what can possibly get in the way? And then once you identify the things that can possibly get in the way, then look at, okay, so what's my workaround for those hurdles? So then you've got a plan going in. It's like, all right, when that happens, okay, I said this might get in the way. Yep, it's happening. What did I say I was going to do? Okay, let's do that. Rather than giving up and just throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Now you've got a plan for how you're going to do it. And now you have that handy. Yes?
So one of the things that I like to ask myself,
Yes.
because I am gluten-free, as most of you know, and it was an issue for me when I first started going gluten-free. So I would ask myself this question, what will this do to me if I eat this muffin? And I find that that's really helpful for me. Like, what will it do to me if I have this alcohol drink? Or what will it do to me if I have this bag of chips? You know, like, how will it serve me? You know, like, what is the nutrition value in it? And and now I just automatically look at something, kind of score it in my head, and rate it, and say, you know what, it's really not worth it.
Yeah, so you're eating in a very conscious and mindful way.
So that you can retrain your brain, and so like I don't like to use the word, oh, I was good today or I was bad today. I don't use those words, good and bad. I just go, well, that was good research. You know, like if you have something that doesn't agree with you or you don't feel good afterwards, it didn't give you a lot of energy, what did you learn from that experience? And so that's kind of the...
It's choice.
Yeah.
And this happened to me yesterday because a few of us that are in this room, we're in meetings for 8 hours a day while we're transitioning over to our new software, which is what all that is all about. So yesterday around 2 o'clock, I mean, I could not keep my eyes open to save my life. I had pasta for lunch, of course. And one of my coworkers across from me, he was actually laughing at me when I woke up at one point. Well, I had a Mineola, an orange in front of me, and I'm not crazy about oranges, but I brought it to try to force myself to eat something healthier. I got the orange up and I ate it, and you believe I never closed my eyes again after that. And it was really funny. The entire rest of the afternoon, I was wide awake, and I went home thinking, oh my God, that orange gave me energy.
Yeah,
And
isn't it
it
amazing?
was really
Yeah.
weird. I mean, I haven't forgotten that since, and of course today I forgot my oranges and grapes. Now I want to go with it, but it woke me right up.
That's
And
great.
I for the rest of the day, I didn't feel tired again.
That's great.
So that was just
That's a great
eye-opening
experiment,
for me.
yeah. And that you're aware that you noticed that too.
Completely,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool.
So,
Yes.
Just to relate it to both, I've noticed lately that sugar fogs me out,
Mm.
right? And so Easter Sunday, I had a big full day Tuesday of clients and work, and so on Easter Sunday, I deliberately avoided alcohol and sugar. It was hard because everybody, it was a big family gathering, but I just remembered what I wanted, which was to feel really clear on Tuesday.
Yeah, to
so-
Kathy's point, that's a great
Yeah,
example. Thank you. Excellent.
And I had fruit instead.
Well, that's good. Healthier version of sugar. Hello.
Hi.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you. Welcome.
So, okay, I'm going to segue to energy now, one of my favorite topics. I could talk for hours about energy management. So, let me talk about energy management and why I feel so passionate about that. Probably about 9 or 10 years ago, a book crossed my path called The Power of Full Engagement by Tony Schwartz and Jim Lohr. Anyone heard of that book or read that book? That opened my eyes to this concept of energy management and why it's more powerful than managing your time. The idea is that, well, let me explain to you in terms of a story. Frequently, I am asked by people, I speak on different topics, and sometimes people ask me, oh, can you do a talk on time management? And my response to that is, I can do a talk on time management, but actually I feel it will be more powerful and effective for your audience if I speak on energy management. And the reason being is, if you think about time, time is finite. We all have 24 hours in the day, no matter our socioeconomic status, where we live, how old we are, how intelligent or not intelligent we are. We all have 24 hours in the day. We cannot increase it or decrease it. And sure, there are things that you can do to be more efficient with your time and get the most of it, but that will only get you so far. When you focus on managing your energy, and in the powerful engagement, they break energy down into 4 buckets: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And the idea is, if you can figure out a way to manage your energy and get the most out of your energy, it's like your time magically expands. It's like giving your car a tune-up after it's been running kind of sloggy for a while, and then it's running so much better. This is the concept of energy management. And again, I'm not going to go into all the 4 buckets, but kind of from a big picture perspective, what I'd like to focus on is things that give you energy and things that drain your energy. Because once you figure that out, that helps you manage those 4 buckets even better. So things that give you energy, I call them energy infusers, or things that infuse energy to you. Those kind of fall into 2 categories: activities that inject joy or resilience in your life, and activities that bring calm. Because if you think about it from an energy perspective, again, we're not robots. You want to build things into your life that renew, refresh, and restore you. So let's just brainstorm for a little bit on these 2 different kinds of activities. So activities that give you joy or resilience. So, and this can be something that you currently do now. It can be something that you used to do and have that, gee, I'd really like to get that back into my life again. Or something that you've never done and like, gee, I'd like to try that out. So what kinds of things give you joy or resilience? Yes?
Riding my bicycle.
Riding bike. Okay. Thanks, Ellen.
Going to the beach. Yeah, that's even better.
Boy, and amen to that this year.
Yeah.
What else?
I like to commune with nature, and most of that happens on the bike path as well. Or Walden Pond.
I love to be in my kitchen cooking.
Oh, yeah.
Just the atmosphere. Little music on.
Being with friends.
with music on.
What did you say?
Cleaning my house and have the music on.
Want to come to my house, honey?
Oh, when you see the finished product.
Yeah. Sally likes organizing.
Yeah, I thought that's what Sally was going to say. Or
Not my house, your house.
okay, now let's talk about things that bring you calm.
Reading.
Yeah.
What else?
Music.
Yoga.
Leaving some space in my calendar.
Oh, I love that. What else?
I'm gonna give you two.
Go.
Because I kind of go hand in hand for me, but journaling and meditation.
Okay. So my challenge to you is pick one thing from each of these lists. And it can literally be on this whiteboard, or maybe something someone said sparked something from you and you can think of something else. And write that down on your handout. Decide that in the next 30 to 60 days, you're going to commit to doing something on the joy and resilience side and something from the calm side. Ideally, over time, you've got at least one of these from each list that on your calendar that you're doing every week. It's great to have this in your tool set. It's stuff like this that's going to help you, again, through the good times and the not so good times. And my challenge to you is book it in your calendar just like you book an important appointment. For those of us who have our own business or otherwise meet with clients, book it in your calendar just like you book an appointment with an important client. Or just like you book an appointment with your doctor. Because I see too many times I'm like, yeah, I'll get to riding my bike. It might happen. Or, yeah, maybe I'll start meditating. The maybe doesn't happen, or it rarely happens. So yeah, book it in your calendar, whether it's paper or electronic. That would be my challenge to you. And think of, because when you do this, it's going to energize what's important for you. And the time will open up for that, and the energy will open up for that. So that's the positive side of infusing good energy in your life. So let's talk about the flip side, the things that drain your energy. The one thing I'll start with is certain types of individuals with certain types of personalities that can drain your energy. Have folks heard of energy vampires?
Yeah.
These are the people who suck the life right out of you because of how they are. They are perpetually, the glass is half empty. Every time there's some tale of woe that they're sharing. Their energy is just really, it just feels really heavy to be around them. And this is someone who's perpetually that way. We all can have our moments, but this is someone who's perpetually that way. So my number one advice is just really try to limit your exposure to those kind of people as much as you can. So that would be number one on the energy drains. Other energy drains. Volunteer opportunities that initially were very engaging for you and now have become to start to feel like more of a chore. Things that are responsibilities that are on your plate that can be delegated or shared. Things that you're tolerating. Tolerating, I love that word. Consider what you're tolerating in your life. And that could be, maybe you have an ache or pain or some weirdness going on in your body that you kind of like not really paying attention to and like, I'll deal with that at some point. It could be a difficult conversation that you've been postponing. It could be clutter, Sally. It could be clutter in your office, clutter in your home, whether it's laundry, whether it's paperwork, what have you. It could be a difficult, challenging friendship. It could be medical issues. Think of what's exhausting you in your life. Those are things that you're tolerating.
She's leaving for college in the fall.
But wait, you wanted her to.
So those are some examples of some energy drains. And similarly, like I issued you a challenge here, I'll issue you a challenge on the energy drain. Pick one of your energy drains that you'll, okay, I'm gonna, over the next 30 to 60 days, this is something that I'm gonna work to reduce and or eliminate from my life. Because again, when you free that energy up, that energy drain, when you kind of get rid of it, you can focus your stuff more on this, more on the wellness vision that you identified that's so important to you, It's going to allow you to do that. Any questions on the energy stuff? Again, we're just scratching the surface of this concept today. Okay, so what I'd like to transition to now, and some people are already flipping, to that last page of your handout. So we've got your wellness vision defined. We've talked about energy, things that give you energy and things that drain your energy. So now I want to start to look at the people in your life that can help or perhaps get in the way of you achieving your wellness vision. So this is an exercise from a book called Coach Yourself Thin by Greg Hottinger and Michael Schultz. And while this is a book from a book on losing weight, you can apply this towards any kind of habit that you want to instill or whatever you created in your wellness vision. So the idea is, and I'll walk you through it, so the inner circle, what you do is you jot the names down of people who you feel will support, and it might actually help to have your wellness vision handy. Glance at your wellness vision, look at that and say, all right, who in my life can I count on to support me in making this happen? And just jot those names down. This shouldn't require a lot of thought. The names should just come to you right off the top of your head of who you can jot down. So that goes in the inner circle. The middle circle is the neutral zone. So those are the people who you don't think are going to, you're not sure whether or not they're going to support you in going for your wellness vision, but they're not going to intentionally try to get in the way of it. They're kind of in the neutral area. So maybe jot down some of those names that come to you. And people, I'm not sure. Then in the outer area are people who, these are the tricky people. These are the people who you feel will actively do something to stand in your way, maybe tempt you or try to sabotage your efforts. Or you otherwise feel like you're not going to get support from them. They're going to stand in the way. Jot down some of those names. And don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to share any of this. So let me ask you some questions about, or just make some comments about what you wrote. Or maybe if you want to do this afterwards, that's fine too. So in the inner circle, that's where you want to place your focus, if that's not obvious. Spend your time with those people. Spend your energy with those people. And think about what you can do to, what are you currently doing to nurture those relationships? And what can you further do to build on those relationships? As I say that, do people have some thoughts on like what you can do with those people in the inner circle to kind of, yeah?
Well, if you have the same common goals, you can try to do something together to help.
Yeah,
keep the
buddy
goals.
system's great, absolutely. I don't know if folks heard that over there, but if you have common goals, you can kind of work together, do that, that's terrific. So yeah, think about what you can do with those people. Now in the neutral circle, you can look at that at 2 points. You can look at kind of yourself, do some self-reflection. Okay, well, what's my role in keeping these people here? Is there kind of a vibe or something I've said or done that have caused someone to kind of be in that neutral zone and maybe not sure if they want to support me in this area? And then conversely, look at that and say, are there some people here, if I shared what I wanted to do with my wellness vision and what I want to achieve for a healthy lifestyle, do I think they might want to join me in this? So to Lisa's point earlier, you might be able to get some of those people in the middle circle to move towards the inner one. So consider that. On the outer circle, you'll likely be able to put those people in 2 buckets. One bucket are the people who are your close friends and family, and the other bucket are more kind of distant family, maybe more acquaintances. On the distant family and the acquaintances, my general advice is just limit your exposure to those folks as much as possible. And on the close friends and family, this is an opportunity of growth for you to stand up and identify what it is you need from them to succeed. And it could be something like, if let's use the weight loss example. If you've decided that potato chips are your weakness, and you just literally cannot have them in the house, and if you live with other people, either get an agreement with them, like, can we just not have potato chips for the next 30 days or whatever while I'm getting used to this? Or if you are going to continue to eat potato chips, just hide them from me or don't eat them in front of me. Like, get that sort of, it could be an agreement like that. So yeah, really think about what you need. If you know that, if you have a sense that someone's going to be difficult to try to get in the way or maybe tease you with dessert or whatever, really stand up and say, you know what, this is really important to me and this is what I need from you at this time. Any questions on that?
Well, I just feel guilty about my candy jar now.
You feel guilty
Sure.
about your candy jar?
Yeah, right? And I'm like, am I keeping someone from reaching their goal because I have candy in the jar all the time?
That's a
Sitting out
really
there,
good question.
I feel guilty all of a sudden. I might be making it hard for people and not even know it.
So,
Just thinking.
yeah. So there might be, there
It's
could be.
true.
It's a really good
I feel guilty right now.
Well, you shouldn't feel guilty.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're not forcing them to take it either.
But it's sitting there, and if you don't have willpower,
Temptation.
you're thinking about the people in the circle, anyway.
No, and that's a good
I'm
point.
serious, though.
I think it's a really good point.
It's a good point, and I would encourage you to just maybe give some thought to your role in that and their role in dipping their hand in the jar.
Right.
And maybe if you seriously think it's an issue, maybe ask some questions, or you can maybe have a basket of fruit next to it and see how that goes.
Or take it
Or-
into my office rather than on the counter outside of my office.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would experiment. I don't know that I'd make any rash decisions, but maybe experiment with other options and see.
Okay.
And then you'll find out who really likes the sugar. Because they'll be like, where's the jar?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, and if I could add, Chris.
Yeah.
I just think that, I mean, for me, sugar is a trigger.
Yeah.
And it may be a trigger for other people
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So to just think about, they make the candy purposely that way
Right.
to wire our brain, our brain chemistry, it just is wired that way to remember what it feels like to have sugar.
Mhm.
So when you see sugar, whether you're going into a bank or a doctor's office or whatever, which I think is hysterical when they have
Right.
candy on the
Yeah,
desk in
no,
the
I
doctor's
agree.
office. But
Yeah.
it really is a toxin, and we are wired to, we will never forget what it's like to have sugar. So when you see that, you think, well, I'm just gonna take one. But for some people, that can set them up so that they always wanna come back
Right.
to that container, and that's
Right.
not to make you feel bad. But I think you touched on a really
Yeah.
good point, and it's something, for us all to think about.
Yeah.
What are we doing to others by putting out that? Like when you
Yeah.
look at the breakfast table this morning, there's lots of choices.
Right.
So maybe there could be another choice
Right.
that you could come up with and be
Yeah.
creative around that.
Yeah, so I think I frequently say this in my work, awareness is the first step. So, okay, all right, you're aware that there may or may not be an issue with that, but you're feeling kind of different about it.
I am.
So just, but know that you can choose to make another choice.
Okay.
We love you, Maria.
Just thank you, Kathy.
So,
You don't even have to say it.
let me just wrap this up. So, at this point, you have set the stage for increasing energy and vitality. You've got the wellness vision identified. You've identified some things that can pump up your energy and things that drain your energy, and you're aware of that. You have identified this group of people in your life, that people you know you can count on, people you're not quite sure, and people who you really think are going to get in your way, and you've started to think about ways to handle each of those groups. So that's really great. And what I find is if you feel really inspired and ready to do something, like many workshops, people get all this, yeah, I'm going to start doing this tomorrow. And then tomorrow rolls around and the brain's like, oh, nope, this is how we're living our life and we're doing it this way. So, and that happens. It's true. So I want to share with you some options to help instill these principles that you've come up with today. As a colleague of mine says, in order to change, we must practice something new. And that was said by a colleague of mine named Doug Silsby. And it's so true. We say we want something, but it's not enough to just state it. Again, in order to change, we must practice something new. So to put things into practice, what does that mean? So you've identified this wellness vision that you're going to create. If it's different from how your wellness is today, that does mean that some new behaviors, some new habits are going to be needed to put that into place. And that's what I help people do, is do that. And again, remind them of the wobbles that are going to exist along the way. So if you've gotten value from this talk, there's so much more I can share with you on all these concepts and kind of the ins and outs of making some wellness changes for you. So if you're really serious about wanting to make this wellness vision happen that you created, what I'd like to offer you is a 50-minute, that's 50-minute phone consultation with me, and I'm going to give you some details on that. So this is available to everyone who's here. Sure. How many we got there? 4. Thank you. You're welcome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Thanks. So let me explain to you more about what this is. So I just gave you kind of a 2-pager. The first page describes in detail what you get from this session. And again, it's over the phone. It's 50 minutes. You get a sense of clarity about the wellness you want to have. So that wellness vision you identified today, that just scratches the surface. We'll go down even deeper on that to identify the ins and outs of the wellness you want. You'll find out the essential building blocks to give you the health of your dreams. You'll discover the #1 thing that's stopping you from having the level of well-being that you want. And we'll identify the most powerful actions that are going to move you forward, and finish the consultation being excited so you know exactly what you want. So that's all, you get all that out of this session. If this is something that you want and you're ready to make some changes, it's real easy. You just flip to the second page, you check the box, yes, Chris, please call me. You print your information below and hand that to me before you leave. And if on the call we decide it makes sense for us to work together, as a bonus you'll get an e-report from me called Going with the Flow, 10 Steps to Sanity in Today's Normal. So that's my invitation to you all. And again, that's a way for you to implement the wellness vision, that you take the next step in implementing that vision. So at this point, I thank you for your attention, and I would like to open it up to any questions that you have.
I think this has been great,
Yeah.
because we've heard a lot, we know this stuff, you know,
Mhm.
but you put it in a way that is so tangible, you know, and that it's not easy. That's what I'm hearing, you know. It isn't easy, so it's a process, and I think that's important to hear,
Yeah,
you know,
it is a
because,
process.
at least for me. You
Yeah,
know,
it's a process for everyone. I can't tell you how many people I work with who want to get back to the gym, and they haven't been to the gym in forever. So we start up setting up their goals, and they say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, every day. And I'm like, whoa, back up. I'm going to push back on you on that, because, and I walk through the whole brain thing, and it's like, you're not good. You might be able to do that for a week, but you can't sustain that.
Right.
How many people do you know who set New Year's resolutions, do really well, and then 3 weeks later, it's done? So yeah, it's starting with baby steps and building up from that. And I find a lot of times I have to help people give themselves permission to do that. It's like, that's really okay.
Yeah.
You know, we want to have some small successes first and then work your way up. So yeah, very
'Cause
true.
it's
It is
so
a process.
overwhelming to you know, say, okay, it's overwhelming to say, okay, starting Monday,
Right.
I need to be X'd, you know, that's just defeating.
It is defeating. And we defeat ourselves. So yeah, I'm kind of like the sounding board and the sanity check for like, okay, is this I want people to stretch themselves, but I don't want to do it a point where it's completely unachievable.
Right. Yeah, that's
So-
good, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, Lisa.
It's more of a comment. I've been struggling with weight issues for most of my life, and I'm trying to make a conscious decision to lose some weight. And I've been to nutritionists through my doctor, and the difference between them and between you and Kathy is you actually get real answers. Like, I've gone to nutritionists, yeah, well, you need to eat that, you need to eat, and I'm like, but what do you do if you don't like the food?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no real personal one-on-one there. They're just doing their job, telling you, giving you the same spiel. Like, I've seen 4 different nutritionists, they tell me the same thing. So you kind of you leave there going, well, that was kind of a waste of my time, and a $25 copay I really didn't want to spend. And it'd be worth it to have people like you and Kathy in everybody's corner that can actually give you real answers and actually help you set, you know, possible goals for yourself so that you can make the changes that you need. Because everybody needs a support system, and having them in your personal life is great, but having them outside of your personal space is good too. It gives you just more power to try to get your goals completed. So thank you both for being available to help people and make us feel better.
Thank you for that. That's very sweet. Thank you.
So if I could dovetail on that, thank you, Lisa. You know, no one teaches you how to take care of yourself. You know, maybe you had a mother that taught you that, I don't know, but in most cases, you don't get taught self-care. And that's the thing that you're gonna hear more and more about wellness coaches and health coaches and life coaches and positive psychology coaches like Kim is doing. You know, people need someone in their port, so to speak. You need accountability and support, and you know, we've gone to school and we're passionate about what we do, and you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Having a health coach or having a wellness coach is something that can benefit everyone. I'm sure Chris has worked with a wellness coach. I've
been coached, yeah.
I've worked with a health coach, and it you know, it's not easy making these changes in your life, but if you're taught and you're supported and you're given the information and you're empowered and somebody helps you with your thought process, amazing things can happen. So I think you did a great job today.
I did
Chris.
too.
Thank you.
And I'll stick around, so if people have questions. Yeah.
The four buckets were what again?
Oh, for energy, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And if the term spiritual doesn't work for you, it's really whatever our core values are really important to you, that you feel like you want to live in consistency with those.
Physical, emotional,
Yeah,
mental,
and
and
spiritual.
spiritual, what?
Energy.
Energies, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All different energy, yeah.
Thank
Yeah, and that book, I listed the book in your handouts, it's The Powerful Engagement. And Tony Schwartz, one of the co-authors of the book, went on to create this whole company around energy management. It's called the Energy Project, and I put the website on there too. There's some really cool videos on there and lots of good information too. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Well, stick around.